Hello and welcome to the EMC Innovation Network. Calvin Smith here. I'm joined now by Scott Steinberg. He's a best-selling author, technology futurist, and CEO of Tech Savvy Global. Scott, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Really
Thank
appreciate it. So you're here to keynote the 2013 EMC Innovation Conference. Big event. We got about 10,000 people joining, 16 different locations. That doesn't include customers and partners. That's a lot to take on. You got a heck of a keynote coming up. Can you give us a little preview of what you plan to cover?
Well, the good news is that everybody is capable of innovating, but I think innovation and disruption are some of the most commonly utilized, but also most commonly misunderstood words in business. So the irony about them is innovation is simply the introduction of something new. It could be a new product, new service, but sometimes it's just a new idea, a new concept, and at the same time, disruption is simply something that interrupts our normal routines, throws them into chaos. Could be a problem, but most of the time what we're talking about with disruption are simply new, novel, unforeseen difficulties, and with innovation, we're talking about creative or resourceful approaches to problem solving, and many experts would argue that each and every one of us, no matter whether we're an individual or an organization, are doing this every single day. I don't know what your schedule looks like, but I've run surgery on it about 6 times this morning, so everybody's adapting, everybody's evolving on the fly, new problems are coming up, which means that we are practicing core principles of innovation. And the irony is that as people begin to study this, what they've found is that change, of course, is the new normal, and at this point, 7 odd years into the recession or so, it's more normal than new. But many of the most successful change practitioners are everyday employees, because the #1 source of innovation is simply listening to your customers. Right. So those employees, those people on the front line closest to the client on a day-in, day-out basis, are those often best poised to spot emerging opportunities and then bring new, novel, and fresh perspectives and solutions to bear. So absolutely everybody can be an innovator. The only question you have to ask yourself as an organization or individual is, what's stopping us from innovation and getting forward and seeing ahead of the curve? And at the same time, well, if that's the case, right, if we can all innovate, we are all adapting on a daily basis. What are the skills, habits, values, and practices that we can put into play on any given basis, right? And how consistently and confidently and capably are we doing it to overcome some of those inhibitors and those inhibitions? Because really the only thing holding us back from success in many cases, and I know it's going to sound corny, but it really is a sense of perspective. Sometimes, you know, we like to talk about, a lot of people have an MBA, a PhD. We talk about the concept of the GSD, the Get Stuff Done degree, and that's
right.
when we're being polite. That's the non-explicit version of it. So the reality is, millions of innovators are helping drive the wheels of forward progress each and every single day, all around the globe in every industry. You do not need permission. You do not need a title that says VP of Innovation or Director of Innovation. You can do it, but only you can give yourself the permission and the perspective to do so.
Such a phenomenal and crucially important message to share, right? I want to jump back to something you touched on there, which is how do we facilitate or put forward, usher, and foster this innovation, especially in a big corporation, right? Enterprise innovation or entrepreneurship as opposed to entrepreneurship, what does that look like, and what are the mechanisms that we could perhaps put in place to enhance this stuff?
Right, well actually Booz & Company did a study on this, the Global Innovation 1000, where they look at hundreds of the world's top innovators, companies like 3M, Google, and Amazon, to see what makes them tick. And what they found was that top innovators don't actually spend more money on problems, they don't have better talent, brighter ideas, they don't have bigger R&D departments or fancier prototyping laboratories. They simply have a better support and communications framework in place, and that allows them to more quickly and effectively nurture and incubate new ideas. And so really what they're better at is empowering everyday employees to be able to speak up, to brainstorm new ideas, actually strategize around them, and then deploy them. So what happens in a large organization is oftentimes entrepreneurs are isolated, they're in very disparate departments, they may be siloed off, and really what we're trying to do is pair them up and find online collaboration and sharing tools so you can very quickly staff, resource, and deploy new solutions. Could be pilot programs, minimum viable product programs, put them in the real world, get feedback, fail smartly, fail strategically, do it cost effectively, and eventually iterate your way to success. But this absolutely, positively begins with empowering employees to speak up and affect positive, lasting change.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'll tell you what, I can't wait for this keynote, because if this is just the tip of the iceberg, this is going to be great.
Wait till we have coffee.
Thank you so much for your time today,
My
Scott.
pleasure. Thank you, Kevin.
Stay tuned to the EMC Innovation Network.